Music, athletics, arts, and entertainment. The Desert Tiger Podcast with Colton Geschwader.
Alright, and it is the DTP here with me, Colton G, on Tuesday, October 24th, for what is our second bonus Tuesday episode, our episode 5. That's right, episode 5 here in our flagship month number 1. We're keeping them coming at you. And today we have Beauty Killed the Beast from Regina, Saskatchewan coming at you here. We are going to talk to them about exactly who they are and how they ended up meeting. We're going to talk to them about where does their name come from. We're going to talk to them about their first EP that they released in January of this year called Here's Hoping. And we're going to talk to them about a couple of the songs on that EP. But before we get into that, how to apply to be our song of the day. To apply to be our song of the day, you email us here at the Desert Tiger Podcast at desert.tiger.podcast@gmail.com. You can find us at Desert Tiger Entertainment on Facebook, Desert Tiger Pod on Twitter, and Desert Tiger Podcast on Instagram. All these platforms work for getting a hold of us. And you can get a hold of us with a description of your band and a link to where to listen to the song. If I enjoy what I hear, we will consider putting you on a song for one of our future episodes that do not feature an artist, like we had with episode 1 with Danny Duggan. We are going to have an upcoming episode with a football player that I'm very excited to have coming up, so we are keeping our eyes open, keeping our ears listening for what could be our possible next song of the day from you, our listeners. So keep them coming in, keep them rolling in. And today, without further ado, we're going to get to who our guest is. And our guest is Beauty Killed the Beast out of Regina, Saskatchewan. Beauty Killed the Beast is an alternative, crossover style of music that is less prominent in the Saskatchewan music scene. Their approach is to incorporate each member's diverse influences, those being pop, punk, metal, prog, and a little bit of Soul Train for you, brother. And blend them all together in a nice little witch pot to create a sound that is original, accessible, and makes you want to tap your toes and move your feet. So, without any further ado, we are going to get into Habits by Beauty Killed the Beast.
Desert Tiger Podcast.
Alright, and welcome Beauty Killed the Beast from Regina, Saskatchewan to the Desert Tiger Podcast. Can you please introduce yourselves and what you play in the band?
Okay, I'll start. My name is Brett Horton, and I play drums in the band and occasionally assist with backing vocals.
My name is Michael Leash. I play lead guitar and vocals.
My name is Jordan Black. I play bass and occasionally backup vocals.
And my name's Matt Gummer, and I play guitar and sing.
Alright, awesome. How did you guys all end up meeting each other, and how long have you been a band?
It's a long story,
It's a
I
very
guess
long
we
story.
could do this time.
Hey, we have 30 minutes to 60 minutes, so
Okay, cool.
go
Yeah,
hard.
okay, well, I can start this one. So I've known, I guess, this is Matt talking, by the way. Mike the longest, because we went to elementary school together, but we're, 2 grades apart?
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't really like friends or anything, but I heard he played guitar when my friend's brother told me that he was better at Guitar Hero than me, and I was like, ha, no freaking way, that's not true, but turned out he was. And then I don't think I talked to him about like playing until high school.
Mm-hmm.
It was like grade maybe 10 or 11 for me. And I'd been wanting to be in a band for a while, so I was like, wanted to do something, so I messaged him, and I think it must have been grade 10, about doing the talent show with me.
Yeah.
And we like talked about we were going to do a cover of Violet Hill by Coldplay, and like learned it, and then we were going to do it. I don't know why we didn't end up doing it, but
I don't know. Probably
ended,
just because
ended up playing
with just
Wonderwall
2 people,
by
yeah.
myself. And then didn't really do anything with Mike until later, and then I dated a friend of Brett's, and that's how I met Brett.
That's how we hooked up.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Ooh, a drummer, cool!" Because like, there's not that many musicians in high school, especially when you're in like a small town. It's like you don't. It's hard to find because no one's like, "Hey, I'm a musician," just like sticking around with their hand up.
Especially in your guys' style of music.
Yeah,
of course.
especially that. Yeah, there's lots of like classic kind of rockers or whatever, but not that many kind of punk.
And I only had one friend at the time who could play guitar, and he was okay. So when I met Matt, I was like, "Oh, sick! We actually got something here."
Yeah.
Because Matt and I went to the same. We were in the same grade when we met, basically in high school. But that's when we kind of started realizing that maybe we should get together and play some music.
Yeah, and then we didn't end up doing anything until
There was the
fashion show.
fashion
right?
show,
Yeah. So for the grade 12 fashion show, I was like, I want to do something.
You had 3 performances that night.
Yeah, it was a big performance night for me. But Brett played with one of them, and then
What did you do? The Fray?
yeah, the phrase
How to Save a Life.
Good choice.
It was a
Very good choice.
weird choice, kind of. Though,
Drums
for
weren't
literally
exactly
just
complicated,
drums.
but we made it work.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I've had my band in the past to ask me to play a song that had no bass at all and insist that there was bass. So
And then you get to make up your own part.
That's funny. You get
I
to be the
just
backup
stood
dancer.
there and made them look stupid. So,
Whatever
Yeah, so
works.
that was mine and Matt's first get together.
Yeah, and that would have been grade 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
then that was when, like, finally, like, kind of got together, actually did something, and then I knew I definitely wanted to do the talent show that year, so I talked to Brett, and then I'm like, I remembered, like, having talked to Michael in the past, and he was already interested in playing, so I was like, hey, I
You came over to my house one
I
day.
could do a full band thing this time, like, we got a drummer, so I texted Mike, he's like, yeah, I'm down, so he got together, and then we got our friend AJ, got him to play bass, because he was kind of learning, and he did that, and then we played 4 songs, like
one original,
one original.
medley of all
A
the
pop
current
medley.
pop hits and 2 straight up covers, and it was a blast. It
Yeah.
was outdoors, and everyone loved it. The applause was huge. We won. Not that I'm bragging, but it was. but it was like, but it was cool because it was kind of like what we do is after they said that we won, we're like, well, we actually have another song if you let us play more, because we always have one in the tank, right? So that was really cool because then we got to play a 4th song, and then after that day we kind of started realizing that hey, maybe we should do this a little more frequently.
Maybe there's something here.
Yeah, it just came together super easy. Like, we didn't have that many practices.
We just gelled,
but like, yeah, it was right away. It was like, oh, it felt natural. So we just kind of like, after the talent show, me and Brett were graduating that year. So we wouldn't have seen Mike again, but we were like, we want to keep practicing, so we kept playing. It was, just went from there. We wrote a lot and didn't really play. We played like maybe 2 shows in 1 year kind of thing.
Nothing.
But didn't really like pursue it that much. But
Yeah.
like kept jamming. Like didn't became good friends as well as bandmates, and just kept getting together after that for like 5 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if it was you guys graduated in 2010.
Yeah.
So it's like from there to I guess 2014, 2015 when we eventually met Jordan.
Yeah. And that's we had a
different Jordan.
We had a different Jordan.
Jordan
bassist
1
for.
What do we do? We put up flyers along the quick.
Yeah,
and then he texted me, and I'm like, "Oh, this guy's like serious. This random guy he said he had a musical background, and I said, come over for a jam one day, and he did, and he was a good dude. We played maybe 2 shows total with him, and recorded 1 or 2 songs.
Yeah.
But didn't work out with him. He wasn't really into it, and he wasn't loving it anymore. So flash forward a couple years. Jordan number 2 comes into the fold, and his girlfriend, now wife, is best friends with Matt's girlfriend. So just nice big family thing we got going.
Yeah, worked out really well. We went out for supper and drinks. Me and my girlfriend with Jordan and his, and then he's like, "Yeah, I play bass." I'm like, "Oh, we could actually we could use a bassist. Do you want to come jam?" And he's
I'm
like,
actually interested.
Yeah, it worked out. He's like, "Yeah, I'd love to come," and then he did. And went really well. Like again, just gelled well. Like you can tell him like it's gonna work out, and just like it went really well. And then like the next day, I got a text from Brett just being like, "Oh, that guy was awesome. He's in." And just so that was it. And then we were like, "Okay, this is it. So let's start playing." So then
let's get serious.
Yeah. It wasn't until like after Jordan joined where we like took the name like Beauty Killed the Beast and actually started seriously writing and jamming and performing as that. So
yeah, we've been called a couple of names over the years, but
yeah, we won't.
We're now Beauty Killed the Beast.
Yeah.
This is the final one.
All right. Well, we won't ask you about the other names then, but where does the name Beauty Killed the Beast come from?
Well, Matt, Mike, and I are big movie buffs. That's kind of one thing we immediately bonded.
Well, you're a movie buff.
Well, fine. I'm the main one, but
Brett Buster is the movie buff. But we are movie enthusiasts.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
Brett Buster, whoop whoop.
So we tried to come up with some cool, just a cool sounding name. So we all threw out some ideas, and I think it was Mike who stumbled upon that one.
No,
was it you?
Matt. Yeah, because I was literally just going through it. Like we wanted something to do with movies because we're like, oh, we like movies. So I literally just like found a list of famous movie quotes and just put the ones into the chat that I liked. There's a lot of dumb
Make
ones.
My Day.
Oh, yeah.
We just went like literally
right.
any like movie quote or significant thing we could think of. We just like threw it in the chat.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people think it's like a Disney thing.
Yeah,
but
Beauty
it's not at all. It's actually a line from the original King Kong. Right after he's killed, they say like
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert
for a movie from the 30s.
If you haven't seen the original King Kong before.
So yeah, that's then we started like we really that name stuck, and we did end up kind of incorporating a bit of Disney with we took the rose from
with like the artwork and stuff.
Yeah, like the whole castle idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it comes from King Kong.
Okay. Yeah. You guys actually released your first EP, Here's Hoping, earlier this year. What was recording it like, and who did you record with?
That was a lot of fun. We went with Jared at Nebulous Entertainment out in Moose Jaw. Matt had worked with him previously with a Cadence, that would have been.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it went well for Matt the first time around, so we just figured out we might as well go with what we know.
Yeah, Jared's a super good dude. He really helped us out. He helped us design the artwork for the album. He gave us guidance, and he got us on you guys went on Moose Jaw Radio.
Yeah, he has some good connections. And he's very good about like giving an opinion, but not being like, you have to do this or the song's going to be ruined.
Which we've had with
we've had
with
before.
some producers.
So he's not very overbearing?
No, he's not at all. Like, if you don't do what he said, he's not like sitting there pouting. He's like, okay, that's okay.
He
says,
try this, we'll see how it sounds.
Yeah.
He has a lot of experience too, so he had a lot of comments and stuff that we really, really liked. But again, like Matt said, he wasn't pushy to do it his way or anything. He just, if he had something good to offer, he would. And
and he had a lot of like good ideas too, so it was nice.
The process itself was really quick and organic, I'd say. Like, after Jordan joined is when we really started. I think most of the songs after Jordan on the EP were what we wrote.
Yeah,
ideas.
Maybe like
there's
a
couple
ideas,
deep cuts that we brought back, but
and then So then after he joined, we got like getting them down, the structures and the lyrics and writing, and then we recorded the EP like in a total of about 7 or 8 days with like
8 days.
extra 8 days. So it was good. It was like gave us the initiative to get the songs written and all finished. And then once we got in the studio, we just like pretty much just banged out a song a day, and then it was quick. And it was exciting to like wake up and go to the studio every week or every
super nice.
It was a nice change of regular work for me, at least.
Yeah.
So it was awesome, and we'd definitely do it again.
Yeah, good experience.
That's good. What is your guys' songwriting process like?
It varies. Generally speaking, it'll start out with usually either me or Mike kind of writing like a guitar part, or like the whole song of guitar part, or a riff,
a bass line structure,
some kind of something. And then we'll take it usually to the group, kind of be like, sometimes we'll just like, hey, I have this riff, start playing, and just everyone just does their own thing and see what happens. And we've had a couple songs where like we just literally start playing and then end up playing the whole song right through on that first try, and then come back and write like lyrics and stuff after that.
It always makes us laugh.
Yeah. So it can be like from a single riff to like a full structured song, or even just a couple lines of lyrics or a chorus.
And then like occasionally I'll have like a song where I have all the vocals and stuff done, and then I'll kind of have ideas. And then Mike's the same way, where he could have like a song, like his vocals and guitar part pretty much done, and then ideas for what we want for drums or bass lines, like kind of already envision the song. And sometimes it'll be like that too. So it could be like either just completely organic or kind of come to it pre-made.
Yeah.
Okay.
So without like, when me and Matt, if we start with something, we try to, for the most part, make it like really collaborative. And there can be like points where we butt heads, but I think like
occasionally.
I think like
because you've made it in your head.
Yeah,
you finally bring it to the table, and then for the most part they'll come to me sometimes with a drum part in mind, or at least just the speed, the rhythm that they want, and then I'll play
it wrong.
Yeah, I'll come with my own interpretation, or I'll bend over and let them make me do it. But for the most part, it is a collaborative process. We all come to the table with ideas. We'll talk about it afterwards. We'll rewrite and regroup the song, and that's kind of how it works. Honestly, we just play the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm. And I think like even though there's the like butting heads and that tension, I think it's a good thing, because it just kind of makes the song the best it can be.
You don't want one person coming in with idea and then it's literally just one person's idea.
My way or the highway.
Yeah, because like when you have different people who are like, no, I don't really love that, then you get like this kind of mixture of different styles becoming like a better kind of more original song, rather than just one person's kind of this song.
You can have like a cooperation sort of thing in an equilibrium, instead of one person trying to tell people to write something that they don't want to play.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned cooperation, and Mike said collaboration. I think those are really important
with a little bit of frustration.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're important for creating the songs that are like uniquely Beauty Killed the Beast. Like without, and if there's something that somebody doesn't like, again, we'll speak up and say it, but there's always an effort to try. Well, what if we try this?
We'll always try.
I don't like this, but can we try something else? And through that process, we end up, sometimes the songs don't change very much, but sometimes they change quite a bit, and typically for the better. So
sometimes you have to go through different things to realize that what you had originally is best for the song. Right?
That happens lots of times too.
And it's
right?
It's like having frustration
a few times.
It makes you guys kind of compete with each other and push each other to do better work, which is always a better.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll have like a whole song thought out in your head, and then one of the other members will throw out an idea that you wouldn't have even thought of, and it's like, that's cool. So it's
Or you're like, no, this sucks, but then you try it, and then you're like, oh crap, this is actually cool.
Yeah.
And then you like want to bite your tongue. It's like, okay, I guess we can do this.
Yep.
There's been so many times where it's like, can we just try it this way? And one of us is like, nope. And then we do it that way, and then it's like, they're just like,
oh yeah, that is actually good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it works out. Like that's the main thing, is just agreeing on at least trying the ideas, and then right away when you hear it, like if it sounded right or if it's
and sometimes it just takes a little bit more practice.
Just getting
nail
used to that
down,
change,
because you've been playing it one way for so long. But for the most part, we're always open to trying it, at least hearing everybody out, and then we'll decide from there.
All right, cool. Let's go over one or some of your tracks off of Here's Hoping. Let's talk about Make a Sound. What's the idea behind that one?
That one's like lyrically.
Well, lyrically, energetically, like...
Yeah, well, I try to kind of, when I'm writing lyrics, like I'll always start the song I'll write the guitar part first for sure, and then the melody, and then make sure that the kind of the message or the lyrics of the song fit the vibe of the song. Like obviously you're not going to have some ballad and then it be just like pissed off lyrics. Doesn't make sense. So with this one it kind of was like a high energy, kind of angry, but it was still kind of poppy, so I like that's kind of
it comes in with that energy at the chorus.
So I wanted something to vibe on that, and
sort of a rebellious song.
Yeah. So that's kind of the feeling I got, and I was like, I'm not a super rebellious guy, but I like kind of, I think I said it right at the beginning, like I like to speak my mind. I'm pretty blunt for the most part, so it's kind of like that. Just kind of just, and that's like kind of my like the way I think. Like I like to be. I don't think everyone should have to be if they don't want to, but that's the way I like to look at life. Is like you say what you want, you say what you mean, and like don't be apologetic for it. Just be who you are, kind of thing.
Well, if you don't let it be known, then you're gonna get trampled over.
That was kind of the main thing with on just be yourself and don't like be sorry for it.
And like it was kind of at the beginning of the writing process of our EP, and when we were kind of getting started and wanted to kind of get our name out there, so we thought like that would be a good kind of lead single.
It's a great mix of all our sounds.
Yeah,
it's got the rock angle. It's got like a breakdown in the middle of it. It's a great song that was that the first one we recorded with Jordan. Not Jordan, Jared.
Yeah.
So that was
we recorded that before the EP. That was like
as
our
a single
thing.
So that was our first recording experience like with Jared anyway. And it was so much fun. That song, that song's a blast.
And it's always still fun at the shows. People always get pretty hyped for that one because it's probably our most high energy song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Here's Hoping is the title track. What's the idea behind that one, and why did you choose that as the name of the album?
Why did we choose that one as the?
I think
it sounded cool for a while.
It's a cool
introductory EP too, right?
We really like that song because the way it builds, because it starts off so mellow and then by the end it just explodes. But I think we choose it as the name because we didn't want it to sound desperate, like I hope this works out, but it was kind of putting ourselves out there.
Yeah, as like an introductory sort of music offering, it's a good kind of, it's like optimistic and hopeful, and it just kind of symbolizes like we hope that something good comes out of this. Not to get all mushy, but here's hoping that this is a success. Here's hoping that we have a hella good time like recording and performing music. So
it's definitely a good idea behind the name for it. How about Habits?
That one,
that was originally intended to be our first single.
Yeah. When did that one start? That was was that an older one that like?
That was like kind of, because we had that one.
I feel like we wrote that like in between Jordan's. Maybe.
No, that was a newer one. Now I'm thinking about it because I think we wrote it after Make a Sound.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe
because I remember
Sound was always the first one.
Yeah, I remember doing it at the hall still.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess that was a newer one. So that one went through a lot of changes. We
completely changed the bridge
a lot of times. Yeah. Lyrics for that one is just like pretty much just that person in your life that isn't really good for you, but you go back to them anyways. Like kind of like a drink that you kind of like is gonna make you sick, but you have it anyways.
Toxic person in your life.
Yeah, so kind of like was thinking down that line of like a drink and then mixing it kind of with like a person, so like just someone who's toxic in your life, but like you keep going back to
and we wanted another high energy song.
Yeah.
So it kind of has like a melancholy kind of vibe to the lyrics, but it's super upbeat. So there's kind of some. There's kind of like some optimism in it, like, maybe you're just meant to be with that person kind of thing. So that's a fun one.
And it also kind of speaks to how love is kind of a drug to some people and how it's hard to step away from memories and the connection, no matter how bad in the end it can be for you.
Yeah,
that's a good example of one of our songs where Matt and Mike get to trade vocal parts for the verses. Yeah. And they usually each write their own and then collab together for those songs.
And get the group vocals going.
And then get the gang vocals going.
All right, we've talked about the start of Beauty Killed the Beast. Where did each of you get your start in playing music? What was your first instrument, and when did you eventually, at what age did you start?
For me, it was in elementary school band, so grade 6 I think is when that started, or maybe the year before. Head Start, do you guys remember Head Start?
I never did
remember that.
Yeah, was that grade 5 going into grade 6? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, so then
you ready for like grade 6, 7?
I guess it was like the summer going into grade 6. So I picked the trumpet because it seemed easy. It only had 3 knobs, and I was like, I can do that.
I can blow air.
So so I went with the trumpet, and I was okay at it. There's only 4 of us in the whole band, so we kind of had to do a lot of lifting. But yeah, I was always kind of eyeing the percussion people, though, and my dad knew this, because whenever listening to the radio, I was always locked into the drums, playing along, and then still am. And then one Christmas, he surprised me with a rent-to-own drum set from Long and McQuaid in my garage, and I never looked back. I mean, because once we got to high school, band became only available at lunch. And I was not for that at all. So dropped out of band, stopped playing the trumpet altogether, and started taking drum lessons at Long McQuaid. And then every year I had a new teacher, and that was really starting to annoy me, because it's like, oh, we made all this progress, hit the reset button.
Yeah.
So after I had a really great teacher, he left because he didn't like the way Long McQuaid worked and the way the schedule worked. So he started teaching out of his house. So I followed him, started taking 1 hour, because it used to be half an hour, 1 hour private lessons at the end of his day, so we could play, because I don't want to brag, like I was his most advanced student.
Yeah.
So eventually I learned all I needed to learn from that guy, and so I've been playing drums for about 15 years now.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. And that's
Doesn't show.
Yeah.
So my first instrument that I played was piano, so I took piano lessons for a couple years in elementary school, and then that wasn't really for me, so then I switched to drums, actually. Mm-hmm. So I started taking drum lessons and playing drums and thinking like I love drumming, this is really like the thing for me. And then I also played in band. I did percussion in band for a couple years, but then I wasn't really into that. And then once I started high school, I met this one guy who played electric guitar, and then so I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then so I kind of caught on to that, started playing electric guitar around, I think, probably the 9th grade, and then that's just been hopped around, and then I found my place in the music world with the electric guitar.
You started electric guitar in the 9th grade?
Yeah.
Were you would have only been in 10th grade then when we had that show?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Weren't you self-taught too?
Yeah.
Yeah, he ripped out that solo on that unoriginal song.
Yeah.
So
Piano.
I would
Piano's
not
a
have thought you
good
were...
transition instrument.
Yeah, that was a good way to introduce it, like piano, because a lot of the theory and the kind of disciplined crossed over to everything else. So then, electric guitar has been my instrument of choice for about going on like 8 or 9 years, and then I never really was into singing, but Matt always encouraged me to sing more when we practiced and wrote. So then now it's I really enjoy singing, and we're trying to get it to the point where we're switching lead vocals and switching off a lot more in our songs. And so
music for me started, I guess, when I was 5 or 6. My parents put me in piano, and similar to you guys, I didn't like it, but they forced me to stick with it. And so I actually got my grade 8 conservatory and spent a lot of hours learning theory. And
Jordan's really impressive, guys.
And then I haven't really played piano much since. I went to university and I didn't have any money, so I couldn't buy piano. And as a result of that, but still wanting to play music, I got a bass from my cousin for super cheap. It seemed like a good way to just do music on my own without having to shell out the cash for a nice piano. And then I started playing around with my cousin in a 3-piece band in Saskatoon, and we did some shows, and then I realized, this is something that I could continue to do for the next little while. And then when I came back to Regina after
we stole
school,
them.
I
wiped them off.
moved back home, and my previous band was in another city, so that kind of fell apart. But luckily, through my now wife and her best friend, I met Matt, and the rest is sort of history.
Yep. I started, first time I ever played an instrument was in like grade 6 maybe. We had a teacher who was retiring that year. He was our good teacher for like half the year, and then we got a new teacher for the other half of the year to take over from him. She wanted to put on like a little farewell show, so she was just asking, does anyone want to learn to play an instrument? She wasn't like, hey, who knows how to play? She's like, I'll teach you guys, and we'll play a little show, like just like 2 songs. And I had always kind of been like somewhat interested in like playing music. I never really wanted to do the band thing because I wasn't interested in brass. I hate like the sound of
whatever,
brass.
man.
I mean, good audio for playing it, but I just like I don't know. Like maybe could have done saxophone, but it was so expensive.
Yeah.
And the rest of them were just not interesting to me. So like I always was interested in guitar, but just never really had the opportunity. And she was like, it was actually bass that I played because they didn't have a guitar, it was just bass and singing and drums. And she asked, hey, does anyone want to play the bass? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So she taught me how to play, I think, Smoke on the Water and Wild Thing. And those are the two songs we played. And, like, I learned for, I don't know, like a month or something, just practicing those songs and then played, like, a show. So, like, immediately after learning to play an instrument, played a show. And was just like, this is cool. Just, like, being on the stage, everyone kind of watching, and you're just kind of in your like own world playing the music and just like did like applause after that, like even if you played like crap. Hey. But it's just like that feeling of being on a stage, and I was just like hooked. So then my mom like kind of noticed how much I was liking it, so she got me this Value Village $20 guitar. Like the strings I swear were like 12 inches away from the fretboard, and just like you could not play a chord because it was just like take all your finger strength to get down one freaking string. But I still like I played it. I learned like what is that, 12 Nation Army?
Yeah, 7 Nation
Army.
7 Nation Army.
It's a good guitar to learn.
Yeah,
right?
so like learned just like little bits and pieces, and I was like really enjoying that. And then kind of was on my dad like, hey, can you get me an electric guitar? Get me an electric guitar. And then finally for Christmas he did, and just played the crap out of that, and like right away started writing songs like almost immediately. It was like I'd learn like one song and then start writing. Like they were awful little like one string things, but it was like there was no like playing for a while and then getting into writing. It was like right off the hop I was wanting to write, and then played guitar for a while. Started learning acoustic guitar because I kind of wanted to like be able to sing and play guitar, because I mean you can't get the girls with just guitar usually. You gotta sing too. So I was like, I gotta learn to sing. And didn't really, I don't know if I'd say I learned to sing. I just was like, I'm just going to sing. And like, I think played the talent show of like grade 10 after having played guitar for like two or 3 years and like barely any like practice singing. But I just remembered.
Was that Wonderwall?
No, that was the second time. The first one I played an all-time low song, actually.
Oh, okay.
But forgot the words halfway through. And then had to restart. But it was that same feeling of being on stage. Like when I screwed up, I was like, can I start again? And everyone was just like, yeah, start again. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, everyone's just so, like, an audience, like, unless, like, they're really crappy audience, is always just, like, super nice and, like, will always cheer you on. So, again, that feeling of just having that support and just made me even more excited about playing. And then, but after like screwing up, I was like, man, I want some other people on the stage with me to not have that, and like really wanted to do the band thing. So that's kind of when I started like pursuing Mike, and then running into Brett after that. And after that, I just kind of like history. I just wanted to play band, and then found band members, and we jammed. And I guess I learned piano too along the way, and I can kind of play drums a little bit. And like I wanted to learn everything, so I actually rented a cello and a violin too at one time, so I can like butcher those, like not well, but somewhat play them. But yeah, that's my start.
Yeah, it all took us each a couple tries to find our instrument of choice.
No, sometimes it does. I mean, I started at recorder and ended up.
Okay, yeah, I guess I had
recorder too, right? Grade 4.
Bring that
hot cross buns for the win.
Alright, it's been a pretty good interview so far, Matt, Mike, Brett, and Jordan, but we're going to take a little bit of a break before we get a bit more into Beauty Killed the Beast. We're going to ask them what their inspirations are in music and in life. We're going to ask them a little bit about the future of the band, and we're going to ask them a couple questions about Halloween, because you know that's coming up really soon, so hopefully you got your costumes ready and rocking. You know, here at the Desert Tiger Podcast, we're a little bit nerdy. We love our costuming, our cosplaying. As you may know, I like doing Pokemon cosplaying quite often, as I have an Ash Ketchum costume and a Team Rocket costume, but both of those are currently en route to Kamloops. Well, not en route yet, more so in storage, but thanks to Premier Van Lines for saving us on our move, where U-Haul was actually dropping the ball pretty hard and called us with less than 24 hours before we were supposed to pick up our 16 by 12 trailer. That's right, a 16 by 12 trailer. They called us to inform us that they only had a 5 by 8. That just does not work on less than 24 hours notice. What are you doing, U-Haul? Are you trying to run a business, or are you trying to run into the ground? But if you guys are costuming this year, you should let us know what you're wearing. You can either let us know what you're wearing, or you can give us a spooky book for our book of the week next week. As you know, we usually do a book review of the week every Thursday here on the podcast. Last week was actually a fan suggestion where we read Watership Down by Richard Adams on our 4th episode with Alone I Walk, which released last Thursday. So you can check that out. Huge shout out to Shelby again for giving us our first fan suggestion, and if you want to get at us with your costume or a book suggestion, you can find us at desert.tiger.podcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at Desert Tiger Pod. You can find us on Facebook at Desert Tiger Entertainment, and you can tag us in your Halloween pictures on your Instagram at Desert Tiger Podcast. That's right, we would love to see what you're wearing for Halloween, and we'll probably give you a shout out if you let us know. And we would love to get some spooky book suggestions, maybe possibly It, since I know that that's really hot right now and I've never read it, so maybe give me a reason to. Maybe give me a reason to check out another author other than Stephen King, as he's really the only horror author I've actually ever read. Alright, without wasting any more of your time, let's get back into this interview with Beauty Killed the Beast.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Alright, so who are your inspirations inside and outside of music?
Oh. Man, interesting question.
I don't know.
Question.
Musical inspiration to me is always going to be Eminem. I just look at him and I listen to it, like read his lyrics. I just read them, and you know, lots of times they're incredibly aggressive and stuff. But the way he puts words together and stuff reminds me almost of like the classical piano that I played. And that might sound weird, but he just can weave a story together so effortlessly, and to see somebody do that and like apply it the way that he has in his career, that's something that's inspiring to me. So not saying necessarily that I want to play rap music, but the way I see him create his music and the way it comes together, it just, like, there's nothing better to me.
And just how, like, the way that it flows kind of, like, makes you want to make music that does sort of the same thing type of thing, or? Yeah,
well, like, when I listen to it, I get such a strong emotional reaction to just about all of his songs, and I don't find that there's a lot of artists that make me feel that way. So that's why he's a big inspiration to me, because he gets me really feeling something, whether it's, you know,
well, it's straight from the heart.
Yeah.
Well, if we go into our individual influences, Jordan is more of the hip hop kind of guy. I'm more hard rock and metal. Matt, I guess you'd say pop rock and indie, or is that you?
I'd say like alt rock and punk.
Yeah. So
kind of stuff.
I mean, we bring all of that to the table when we write and record. But like for influences for me, I mean, at an early age it was Metallica. I mean, Lars is kind of a joke now, but back then he was my hero.
Well, it's hard to keep up those rhythms after a couple of years, especially when you don't practice them all the time.
yeah. But that was I got into hard rock and metal at a very early age, and I've kind of never looked back. So those are my influences. Obviously, I can't play as insane as some of those guys, where they're just doing blast beats for hours. But I look at their fills and how they what they bring to the table, and that's always kind of been my inspiration. And then, you know, occasionally I'll hear like a cool thing in a hip hop song. They experiment all the times with cool drum stuff, but for the most part, I'm definitely rooted in metal.
Nice.
I think my biggest musical influence would be Prince. Just the way he carried himself, and then his approach. He was just so badass and had skills to boot, so he's definitely the person I look up to. And then outside of music, it's kind of, I guess, in a way involved with music too, but Donald Glover, the actor and comedian from Community and the Childish Gambino, because he's just good at everything, and it's
cool.
kind of
he's multi-talented.
He applies his craft at everything, and he gives it 100%.
And he just it kind of makes you mad because it's just like seems so effortless, and you just wish you'd be able to do that, but. He's
great actor too.
Oh, I'm
he's
sure
awesome,
inside he's screaming some days, but big shout out to Donald Glover for being hella talented. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Have you watched Atlanta?
Oh yeah, it's great.
For me, I guess probably like pop punk was pretty prevalent.
Nailed it.
Kind of when I started playing electric guitar, so that was right away what I started learning. I think the first song I learned on electric guitar was "Taking Back Sunday" song. I can't remember what it was called, but that was my big influences. I like playing like All Time Low and My Chemical Romance and that kind of stuff. Not like super complicated guitar by any means, but just like
very fun.
Yeah, fun and high energy, like stuff that like you could learn without sitting at the guitar necessarily for hours on end. I still did because I wasn't that great to start off with, but it was just really fun, like to like jam along with it. I'd just play the song like super loud and just jam along with it. And my sisters hated that. They'd come home from school and just be like, turn off that shitty music. So yeah, let me stop. But that was my big influence, was those kind of bands, and obviously that kind of turned into what I write now. But then I guess also singer-songwriter stuff. Like once I got an acoustic guitar, I learned like Jack Johnson songs and like Drive by Incubus, and like just any kind of song that was like a singer-songwriter song. So I guess that's where my kind of songwriting influences came from, just that kind of bare basic kind of stuff. So, and that kind of mixed over to have pop punk singer songwriter. Yeah, and then outside of music, I don't know if I'd really say I have any. I don't.
Yeah, I couldn't really think of one.
Yeah,
so that's why I just can't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Never been asked that question before.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. A lot of people have actually asked that question, get caught completely off guard, and have no idea what to answer because they never expect it.
It's frustrating because like. I know there is outside influences that like influence our music.
Trump.
Just oh, yeah, number one.
Awesome. What is the future of Beauty Killed the Beast?
Take over the world.
Full length CD recording.
Yeah,
would
that's
be nice.
next.
Yeah.
We've been working on a lot of new songs that I think we're all pretty excited about. So getting those tightened up and playing them in front of people and getting a full-length CD would be a goal for me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, we don't talk that much about like future plans, but I don't think any of us like have any plans to not continue. Like whether or not we,
it's more like getting milestones right now.
Yeah,
like full-length album. We're playing our first show outside of Regina and Weyburn at the end of the month, so that was a big thing for us.
Yeah, like I know we'd all love to do this as a profession. And I mean, knock on wood, hopefully that can happen someday. But I think we'll be playing and making like new music and recording and packaging together, regardless of that. Like even if it's just local shows or whatever forever. Hopefully that's not the case. I think we'll still be playing. So it's just more of keep doing what we love, keep recording and playing new music, and maybe eventually talk about like going on tour or something if we find that like there's enough demand for that kind of thing, and we can take the time off. That'd be eventually the next step after probably recording another CD, but
it'd probably be worthwhile for you guys because Alberta and BC have a lot more for
people.
Your type of music, and so does Ontario and Montreal.
Yeah.
If you guys ever do end up coming out to BC, you should definitely give me a shout.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll end up putting you on out
podcast
on Kamloops
2.0.
Yeah, we could do that too. Plus, I could put you guys on for a show out in Kamloops.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Possibly even hook you up with Kelowna and Prince George.
That would be
I think
phenomenal.
Overall for 2018 for us is really going to be important to try and get our name out there and get more people aware of who we are, especially in Regina and area, and start branching out then. Because I mean, that's what we're going to need to see. I feel like before we want to.
Yeah, it's ever since we put out our EP at the beginning of the year, it's just been good
upswing.
It's been good to make connections with other bands and just make connections with the kind of local venues around town. We're just really enjoying where we're at, like performing.
Not gonna lie, that's why I kept putting you guys on shows, so I could help you make a lot of connections with people out of town and
And I'm
Good to have.
I'm glad we got to play with you guys too.
I'm glad you got to play with us before I got injured and ended up moving.
Yeah.
Hopefully, by the time you guys end up coming out there, I'll have a band.
New band.
Yeah.
Going. I can start playing in January.
How
Actually, I already
long
have some people
how long do you
lined
have
up
to wait again?
till January.
Oh, gross.
But I already have some people lined up to possibly play with out in Kamloops already.
Jeez.
So
Awesome.
it's been a week, right?
Connections.
It's been a week that I've known, and I'm already all in.
Nice.
How has being from small town Saskatchewan affected your music and your lives?
Well, it's certainly not the scene for our music all the time out here. That's one thing. We have to drag people to, like our friends to our shows sometimes because they'd rather do nothing. But for me, I just wanted to play rock music, and I'm tired. I don't like the way the music industry is going and how it's kind of leaving that behind. So, well, yeah, because I mean, I work in radio and I see it every day. People just want to hear pop music that they made in a computer. So, I wanted to just keep rock alive, and you know, I grew up in White City, so it wasn't even like super small town compared to some of the others around here. But for me, like I said, I wanted to play rock music, and I wanted to keep that spirit alive and put some of that frustration into my playing.
For sure.
Yeah, I guess the being from a small town, although I guess you're technically not a small town.
Jordan, where'd you grow
you're
up?
a small city, aren't you?
But close
Small
enough.
city. I mean, my family was a farming family, so I spent all my summers
Okay.
out of
So
small
still.
towns.
But I would say that influenced us, like, kind of having that close-knit, like, small-town feeling. Like, we're not just bandmates, you know? I feel like in a bigger city, there's lots of bands that are just bandmates. You know, they get together for practice, and that's probably all they do, and then their shows. But we kind of, like, we have that, we're like a family as well. Like, we'll get together outside of that. Like, we'll have nights where we get together and just hang out. Like, we're not doing anything with music.
But I think that's pretty indicative of like a lot of people in this part of the world. I know, like with my softball team, for example, it kind of feels that way too. Being small town, you know, we get together because this is all my friends, right? In summer, and so with Beauty Killed the Beast, I mean, we're all friends outside of it. It just kind of seems natural that we would be doing things other than just band stuff with each other, and that's how I feel about a lot of my different friend groups here. And it's, to me, another thing about the small town is you never know who you're going to see and how they're connected to you. So there's a guy that I used to play hockey with as a kid that I really liked, and it turns out he's a great friend of Brett's.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a new hockey team this year, and
he's a neighbor of mine actually now.
Yeah, and so you know, I ran into him when he came to one of our shows and kind of rekindled that friendship, and then now I've got a new hockey team. So I mean, that's sort of the small town feel to me, is you never know who you're going to see around here, you know, at a show or in the business.
Yeah. So as far as that, like, this positive influence of being a small town, like, for that. But then on the negative side, it's definitely not the scene here. Like, it's pretty much, I mean, mostly kind of country. And then, if not country, then probably like pop, kind of the EDM, which is just what's popular now. I mean, even we listen to that too.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, like, there's a very small, kind of tight-knit, kind of pop punk, whatever you want to say, group.
The scene here took a dive about 10 years ago, and it's just starting to try and make a comeback.
Canceled Rock in the Valley too for me.
Yeah, it's Rock in the Valley, and then the city lost like 3 or 4 of its bigger bands in the alternative / hardcore / pop punk like scene, and it really hurt the scene a lot, and it shows.
I vividly remember waiting to be old enough to go to Rock in the Valley. And then they became Craven Country, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
Oh, I had the exact same feeling, so I know exactly where you were. It was like Evanescence was the last year that they had it, and I was so like, "Oh man, I hope they bring someone cool like that next year." And then just like, no, Craven.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, Country Thunder.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Not Whoop Whoop.
I think the small town background just kind of forced us to really like push ourselves even harder and play well and write good stuff, just because the scene is so small. It's just, and so much more difficult to make an impact. So I think that small town background really had an effect on it and made us really
have something to prove.
Yeah, like just work that much harder.
Can't get by on just like people wanting to see that kind of music and happening to be playing that music. Like, you have to actually be good. because people are like,
and entertaining to watch.
Yeah, like people aren't going to. There's not going to be enough people coming out to show just because they want to hear that type of music. You have to kind of like be good enough that they're like, oh, I like this band, not that type of music. So it's definitely harder, but maybe makes us better in the end.
Well, that's it. Is it makes you have to push a little bit harder, and then once you end up getting to other places, it makes people a lot more impressed with the fact that you were able to break out of the smaller scene. Because I know that was something for us in Almost Alien. Is like people in BC were super impressed that there was like a pop punk band from our region.
Yeah,
so that was on the touring level. So it's like there's people out there that have a ton of respect from bands out there with your type of style. It's just you have to find them, and they're really easy to find once you can get out there. So I hope that you guys really do.
Thank you.
What are your interests outside of music?
Well, for me, it's number one, movies. I mean, for my job, I go to the theater once a week and review a movie Friday morning. And apart from that, all my life, I've been fascinated by filmmaking, and I watch it more to study and to get involved with. I don't just watch it for base entertainment. But other than that, going out for like we get together and play board games quite often because we all love that. And just the regular stuff, like go to the gym and be outdoors. But I do practice drums quite regularly whenever my girlfriend leaves the house, because you can't really do anything else while I'm playing. And my mom went through that, and now she gets to. But so honestly, like music is a big part of my life, but especially with my job too. So I'm always tapped in. But I do like to break free, obviously, to clear my head once in a while.
When I'm not playing music, I'm either doing nothing all day with my girlfriend, watching Netflix. I also really like movies too, so I try to see all the big movies that I'm interested in. And I'm a business student at the U of R, so working on getting my degree in the meantime.
Fair enough.
Yeah, outside of music, I don't know, I try to keep busy. I find if I catch myself with too much time on my hands, I get a little stir crazy, so I like to play hockey. I'm trying to build a really fast streetcar, but getting married and buying a house in the last years meant there wasn't a lot of money towards that. I also am a pretty avid snowboarder, and I try to get away to the mountains.
Priorities. You can sleep in a really fast car, right?
Right. I know. That's what I try to explain to my wife. Like, hey, we can live in this car. We can't
drive away from it once you've been married. Park it, and you're good. Just find a campsite and $400 a month.
Yeah. So moving forward next year, I'm definitely going to spend a lot more time working on my car. But music is obviously a huge priority to me, and I really want to get a piano and start getting back into that, because I haven't spent a lot of time doing that lately, and that's something that I spent a lot of time doing as a kid and fought my mom all through the years. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to piano lessons. And all along, she's just like, yeah, you say that now, but I guarantee you'll thank me later. And me being the stubborn kid I was, this is stupid. I hate this. I want to play hockey with my friends. And now, I mean, I'm the most thankful in the world that she put up with all the crap that my brother and I gave her, because I wouldn't have traded that for the world. So getting back in the piano would be good.
I was like the opposite. My mom was like, you should play hockey with your friends. And I'm just like,
no.
Piano? No, you go play hockey. Get out of the house.
Just be an introvert. Play piano, please.
For me, pretty similar to Brett. Like, I really like getting together with friends and playing games and that kind of thing. And also, same thing. Like, I love playing music. Like, when my girlfriend's out of the house, that's like
game on.
90% of the time, that's what I'm doing. Even if it's not band stuff, like acoustic guitar, or piano, or whatever, just mess around. But that's like, that is the big thing. But other than that, I guess like other hobby would be like reading. I really like reading. I read a lot of books. And like going to chapters and just like looking at books brings me joy. It's pretty lame. Me and my girlfriend will go and like literally just pick out books that we haven't like the cover up pretty much.
Well, that's how it goes.
Judge the book by its cover, and then just have this big pile of books, and then just like kind of read through a little bit of each one, and then like end up getting like 6 books, and then we have this bookshelf filled with books we haven't read. But yeah, so that's the big thing, is reading.
Well, there's a library book sale coming up this weekend.
Library book sale.
Totally hit. They sell off their full stock, and they do like, if you have one of those large grocery bags,
they're
you
full,
can fill it for
they
like
sell
$5.
everything?
They don't sell everything. They just sell the stuff that they're phasing out.
Huh.
Yeah,
like the Regina Public Library.
Yeah, like literally, if you had been here a week ago, like all this was full of books and shit.
And you donated it or kept it?
Oh, it's all in boxes right now.
Okay.
We are not donating our books. No. We are the same way. We went to a sale like a month ago and bought like 156 items. Yeah, we're about the reading.
So bad now.
We're about the reading because like I do a book review on Thursday
No.
shows on the podcast too. So
yeah.
So you guys have a Halloween show coming up soon. What are your best Halloween costumes as adults and when you were kids?
As kids, I had a Power Rangers costume.
Me too.
Were you the Red Ranger?
I think I was the green.
Ooh.
I had the shoulder pad thing too.
Both are cool options.
Yeah, so that was a pretty dope one. I was pretty happy about that because
the dragon sword.
Super. Okay, sure. I think I had a gun. But yeah, that was a big thing because I think that was like the first movie I saw. Maybe Star Wars was the first movie I saw in theaters. Maybe the second
Phantom Menace?
No, the old one. It was like a reshowing.
Awesome.
Nice.
But I think that otherwise was the first one was Power Rangers.
Phantom Menace, where the
and I know you're adult dance.
Up at all.
I agree.
Yeah, adult one was LMFAO. Me and a couple friends dressed up as Red Foo and Sky Blue and the robot from the music video.
I ran into him at the bar and I thought he was the guy.
Yeah,
it looks so much like him.
It was the year when like they were like huge, and like it was pretty lame. But like the video from Party Rock Anthem, I actually got like a seamstress to make me the jacket for it.
It looked amazing.
So it was literally like it was spot on. Like I had like an afro wig and the glasses and like grew up my facial hair to what he had. And when we did a pub crawl that year, and like actually not every but a couple of the bars we went into, like the DJ like announced us. They were like they didn't know we were coming, but we got there like LMFAO in the house, and then started playing the songs, and like people would come up and take their pictures with us, and it was just like, whoa, this is cool. Like we weren't expecting that. We were just doing it because we liked it, but then it was just like this crazy night of like almost being famous. So that was definitely a fun one. Phony.
As a kid, I had a sick Harry Potter costume. My mom was, I don't know, I guess from being from a farm kid, she was much more interested in like making anything she could, but she went like all out on this thing. Like the cape had big long sleeves that all had like gold lined fabric on the inside and had a glass wand. And then at that point in my life, I had these sick, like super round glasses that looked like Harry Potter glasses anyways. So
did you do the lightning bolt?
Oh yeah. So that was a good kid one. And then the most fun I had as an adult with the Halloween costume was me and my buddy went as Terry and Diener from Fubar.
Oh, nice.
I think it was around like when Fubar 2 came out. But,
yeah.
I obviously cannot grow great facial hair, but I had a super awesome like stick-on mustache that I was enjoying a lot. And yeah, that whole costume cost me like $9 because we got these weird old Calgary Flames jackets from Value Village that were just a little bit too small, and
Value Village is excellent.
Just crappy jeans, so I didn't really have to worry about wrecking anything.
When I was growing up, I was really obsessed with the book and the movie Holes when they came out. So nice. I went as Caveman from Holes, and my mom sewed me like the orange jumpsuit, and I got like all the accessories. So I went as Caveman from Holes, and I was really proud of that Halloween costume. And I don't really have any good ones of note from when I was an adult.
What? Dead Mouse.
That's when I was in high school.
That's okay. We'll count that.
Okay, so when I was in high school, I went as Dead Mouse, and I handmade like my own Dead Mouse mask with paper mache and felt.
It looked incredible.
Yeah, it was legit.
I'm pretty sure I actually did see it that year, and it was fantastic.
There's a couple photos still.
Yeah, there's one probably on Facebook.
Walking around on social media that you can find, and that was my favorite. Just the process of making it, and then going out and people being like kind of impressed by it. That made it worthwhile. That was awesome.
For me as a kid, kind of similar to Jordan's mom, my mom liked to make costumes, and she made a Barney costume. Nice. And it actually, I just found out last night because we had our Thanksgiving that it actually passed down to a couple of my cousins, so it got 4 years worth.
Is Barney still a thing?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know, maybe. But so that costume was...
Barney is still a thing?
Oh, wow.
What?
Well, more you know. And then for adults, I mean, I have one from high school, which was pretty good because I just was like, this is going to be hilarious. So I have red hair, so I'm a ginger. So I literally just put a couple of bread bags on my arm, and I made a piece of like toast out of like styrofoam, put it on my forehead, and just went to a party as a gingerbread man, and everyone loved it. It was super easy. And then 2 years ago or so, I'm a big horror guy, horror movies, so I like to scare people. So I went as a ventriloquist dummy. I found this amazing mask at Party City for like $8, and I had an old severed arm decoration, so my mom and I made a rig so that it was sticking out of the back of my suit, so it looked like I ripped off the arm of my puppeteer and was running around free. So that was probably the coolest costume I've ever come up with.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
Alright, do you guys plan on dressing up for your upcoming Halloween show?
Yeah,
definitely are.
Can you let me know, or is that a surprise?
It's still
undecided.
Yeah,
we're still deciding, and probably if we did decide, it would probably be a surprise.
That's fair enough.
We're definitely dressing up.
Yeah,
we got it.
Alright, well, that's good to hear. I'm kind of sad that I'm going to be missing the show.
Yeah, it's too bad.
But that's it. I have one last question for you before we wrap it up. What is your favorite scary movie?
I've been like thinking about this for a year.
My favorite horror movie, which is also very scary, is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay.
It is just a flawless movie to me. The practical effects are amazing. The fact that it's so suspenseful and filled with paranoia, because it's literally just about a bunch of dudes isolated in I think the Arctic, and there's this creature that can manipulate and look like one of them. It can copy them, so they never know in the room who's actually still human or who's been assimilated by the thing. So the whole movie, you're just on edge, and there's some great scares, some great jumps. They actually re-released it in theaters like last year, and Mike and I went and checked it out because I love it. I've seen it so many times. So that's definitely my favorite horror movie, and it's very scary.
Nice.
Yeah. To echo what Brett said, I love The Thing. That's one of my all-time favorites, and John Carpenter in general. Like the original Halloween is one I love, and then more recently, the new adaptation of It that just came out is super awesome. I was really satisfied.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, go see it.
It's great.
It's funny too.
Mm-hmm.
I actually heard that from a band from Philadelphia recently too.
It's probably more funny than scary, but it's just a blast.
That's exactly what he said. He's like, I laughed so hard, and it was just like, what, really?
It's really funny.
Very funny.
It's kind of like Stand By Me, that sort of coming of age, like kid banter mixed with like a demonic clown coming and killing people. So yeah,
I'm interested in Jordan's answer.
Jordan's like, I'm also interested.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think. I'm gonna pass because I'm not really much of a movie guy. I can't even think of the last dedicated horror movie I watched. I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of movies.
What about Scream?
I've never seen Scream.
I'll even accept scary movies.
I was gonna say, I really don't think scary.
My favorite scary movie is Scary Movie 1.
Yeah,
it is the best one for sure.
I remember being really afraid of the Jason movies when I was a kid.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, my dad or my cousins would watch them, and then I'd always leave whenever Jason came around. So I'll have to say my scariest scary movie would be any of the Friday the 13th.
There you go. I'm a little bit kind of in between, like Brett to Jordan. Like I watch a lot of movies, but I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
I'm the same boat, so I can understand that.
I try to recommend some.
Yeah, Brett definitely, like, pretty much the only time I watch horror movies is either if, like, Brett has been like, this is so good, you have to watch it, or he, like, just has, like, invited me and I'm not doing anything, or another friend is like, hey, there's a horror movie, we gotta go. But I guess I would say between two, it would either be like It Follows from a couple years ago. That was
fantastic.
That was a fun one, and like kind of like a different vibe. And the soundtrack was so,
it's unsettling.
Yeah, super eerie and just like weird, but like very good. And then other than that would be probably Cabin in the Woods, just because it was just so fun, and like I didn't really know what to expect from it, and it was just like I was like laughing half the time, and then like. Not really. I wasn't really a scary one, I guess, which is part of the reason I like it. Like, I don't really love horror. Like, It Follows isn't. I don't know if you could even consider horror. It's almost more thriller.
I'd consider it horror because there's
like,
a monster.
That's why I like Cabin in the Woods, just because it's more like it's got the horror elements, but it's more funny. So,
what about you, Colton?
I haven't watched a horror movie in a really long time, to be honest.
Yeah, as a kid, because as a kid I was terrified of Gremlins.
What? I love that movie.
As a kid, because my parents didn't warn me what it was.
Oh.
And,
it was too,
and the very last line of that movie was burned into my brain. It says, next time you hear a noise in your house, look under all the beds, look in the cupboards, because you never know. It could be a gremlin in your house. And I'm like, and I'm 7, and I'm like, oh?
So you're like, this movie called Gremlins, what could this be about?
My parents just put it on. They said, watch this. Like, I didn't...
these cute little...
Yeah.
Just throw you in head first.
Yeah,
I love that one. Freaking E.T. scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, there's parts in E.T., yeah.
E.T. didn't really scare me too much. It was I had a couple things, I can't remember which movie it was, but it had the Tooth Fairy.
Darkness Falls?
Yeah, that one scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, they made the Tooth Fairy a villain. That's not cool.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, I was like, oh great, now I don't want to put teeth under my pillow. I was like, screw $2, she might try and kill me.
Yeah. I want to live.
I want to live.
You guys ever see those Ernest movies?
I never have.
Ernest
Scared Stupid.
Ernest Scared Stupid terrified me when I was a kid.
I've never seen them.
It's like Ernest, and it's a Halloween based, and there's these trolls that come to life to town.
Saved by True Love or something.
And the trolls look so scary. And I remember I couldn't watch that movie unless I sat next to my mom. But, yeah.
All right, well, I think that's all for today. So thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
No problem at all.
All right, huge shout out to Matt, Mike, Brett, and Jordan of Beauty Killed the Beast for joining me here on the Desert Tiger Podcast for episode 5. Love those guys a lot, and I hope you check them out. As they said, you can find them on social media, where you can also find us. You can find us on Facebook at Desert Tiger Entertainment. You can find us on Twitter at Desert Tiger Pod. And you can find us on Instagram and tag us in your spooky Halloween costumes at Desert Tiger Entertainment. I hope you guys enjoyed this Tuesday's bonus show, and I hope you're looking forward to Thursday, where we're going to have Bellevue out of Calgary, Alberta. Whoop whoop. So if you are a returning listener or a new listener, thank you once again for tuning in to the Desert Tiger Podcast. You can find us here every Thursday, and we like to throw bonus episodes every once in a while at you, like today on Tuesdays. So you can find us on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. You can also find us on Google Play Music and the Stitcher app, where you can also rate and review us on Stitcher. And I hope that you please do give us a 5-star, cough 5-star if you wouldn't mind. That would help us out a lot, and we would have mad love for you. Because the more love you give us, the more ability we have to get bigger stars and bigger people on the podcast. So help us, help you get entertained. Alright, that's about all we have on the podcast for today, my friends, and we're going to get back to another quote of the week, as I once promised we would do, but I've only given you one so far. So we're going to start that again here with episode 5, and the difference between everything you could be and everything you are comes down to the smallest details. That is a quote by Andy Frisella. I hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday, and I hope you have a very spooky week leading up to Halloween.
The Desert Tiger Podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review. iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thanks for listening.